The city of Charleston has apologized for its role in slavery. In this edition of Quintin's Close-Ups, I sit down one-on-one with Charleston City Council member Marvin Wagner, who's under controversy over his alleged comments about slavery. And be sure to download the free Quintin's Close-Ups app in your Apple or Google Play stores, or listen to this interview later on the free iHeartRadio app. Marvin Wagner, it's so good to see you.
Hello again, Mr. Quintin, my friend.
Good to see you, man. Boy, you were under a lot of controversy, from what I understand.
Yeah, a little bit. I don't think I caused it. I think the reporting of a few of my words might have caused it. But let's, I'll straighten them out if you want to. Or we just talk about anything you want to. Right down to, I heard the SIP voted against 526. Right. I think we talked about that last time we were together.
Right. Where are you with that decision?
That falls under. It is what it is. The county had already set the rules in motion, okay, to follow it through the courts. The county had spent several, I think they told me about $100 million, and that was what the basis of the suit was. They wanted their money back, and to begin with, either the governor's going to have to get involved with his appointees who voted it down, or it'll be settled in court. Mm-hmm. You had a three parties,
right.
DOT, the SIP, the county.
Right.
The county wants it, DOT wants it, so we have one group that has decided, oh, we're not going to fund it now. And they, when I was up there, I went up for one of the meetings about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
And I don't know, it was almost like they were trying to figure out how to get out of the deal. Well, now they're out of it. Let's let the courts decide. The folks on Johns Island, they were pretty well split. There was a Nix 526.
Right.
There was a
Charlestonians
for 526. Since all of that traffic from that island comes through West Ashley, which is me,
right,
and through Johns Island, which is me, I want traffic relief, and the only way I see it happening is through 526. But and the one road, main road, which is the main artery to get out of town in case of hurricanes or other emergencies, it flooded and stayed closed for about 3 weeks, 5 years ago. So I am concerned that if we have another big storm, the people are not going to be able to get off that island. Mm-hmm. And that is the number one thing I worry about. In the meantime, it's we, the city, the county, and the Johns Island group that does not want this. Now we can concert our efforts on doing other infrastructure improvements. They're bursting at the seams within the growth boundaries out there, both on the county side and on the city side. We about filled the growth boundary up. The 2008 plans.
Oh yeah.
So we have a lot of issues that we need to talk about, and now 526 won't be in the way for a while.
Let me get back to you.
Let's go back to it.
Obviously, you're under controversy over some words you relayed to a reporter at the Post-Courier. Let me go to that particular article.
Okay, let's go.
It reads this, and this is written by Abigail Darlington. This says this, quote, Sheely and Wagner stayed silent during the debate, meaning the slavery debate. Reached by phone Wednesday, Wagner said Griffin had a point. He said about 20 people from his district asked him to vote down the resolution. You said this allegedly, quote, we are all from West Ashley. Our world is different than downtown Charleston. Our constituency is different. If they're hollering and screaming no, we would be crazy not to follow their voice, unquote. What's right and what's wrong about this article?
Had absolutely nothing to do with the slavery vote. The part referring to Councilmember Griffin being right, it is as he was being shouted down by some folks in council, and it was allowed to go on a bit. that part did have something to do with the vote. Okay? But that's the only piece of that comment that was related to that. We had about a 40-minute conversation.
Okay.
A conversation a lot longer than what you and I have had. And during that conversation, I tried to explain to the reporter that we each had 15,000 people. We were the voice of those people. One voice. That's how democracy works. We elect somebody to be our voice. And the voice of my people, and that's where that comment came from. Now, I was trying to be the voice of my people. She said, how many have you talked to? I said, about 20. During the meeting, Mike Seeking said, I had 3 of my constituents or 4 of my constituents out here. My vote is yes. You know? So I've been having some amount of people talking to me. Now, since you were the voice, mine's right now probably around 15,000 people.
Okay.
If 15,000 people, or the major consensus of those people, are saying to me, Marvin, no, don't let this happen, this is not right, right? Then I would be crazy to go against the will of the people that have elected me to be their voice. You know, and that's what that comment meant. It had absolutely nothing to do with the current vote, the vote of it. It had nothing to do with it.
Matter of fact, you said this, well, she wrote this in the article. She says this, quote, he said, meaning you, he worried an apology would open a future door for African Americans to seek reparations from the city government.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That to me, there were 6 items, be it resolved, 6 things, not one. Be it resolved that we need to apologize. The other 5 were never discussed. We had no discussion. They were never read to the public. There was no discussion about any of the rest of this at all. Therefore, we have voted for 6 items, 6 resolved items, and talked about 1. You think something in those other 5 might come back one day and bite us. That's what I was saying.
Will it?
I don't know. I have no soothsayer. At some future point in time. I used my words for point in time.
Okay.
She made the rest of them up.
Wow.
Okay, I didn't say any of the rest. At some point in time. Now, the word reparations came up later in the discussion when we were discussing all the people that were talking that night. I think it was something like 50 people spoke to council that night. I said, yeah, 3 of those people were demanding reparations. There you go. I got 1 word here. I got 5 words here. Hey, I'll make a sentence. And that's the way I read it. And because the way that was framed, the context that was in is not what I said or how I meant it.
As a matter of fact, you said in this particular article
Okay.
she wrote, she says this, quote, he also suggested that slavery was necessary. You said that's not true.
I did not say it that way. I said it was the rule of law in the United States of America at that time. I said it was a very bad thing. Therefore, I guess it had to be the way it was. It had to be that way. I did say that. I used those words, but I guess it means it's a whole lot different than it had to be that way, which is what she is trying to frame it as. And that bothered me. That sentence bothers me. That she dropped 3 of my words out, and it has a completely different meaning than the way I meant it or said it.
And let me get back to the resolution.
Let's go with it.
Did you, or any of the council members, before reading this, did you get a phone call from Mayor Tecklenburg?
I didn't. Joe Riley, if he had something hot or he wanted this to happen, we probably got 2 phone calls. And if we told him no, he'd call us back and tell us why we really wanted to change our mind. I mean, Joe, before he would talk, before he would do anything, he would he would try to explain why. This resolution, there's 6 pieces to it. We talked about one, and boy, 3 hours, 3.5 hours.
Right.
I hit the parking garage about 1:30 because my first council meeting, my first committee meeting was
Right.
2 o'clock.
Right.
We were there till almost 11 o'clock.
Right.
If you didn't like Mickey D's, you ain't gonna get no supper on the way home. You know? They opened to midnight, brother.
Right.
So that's kind of the way it worked, and it did to me at least. And I was not really happy when I read that. I read it the night before. It comes out the night
Right.
before. And my wife read it. She said, "You need to call her." And I said, "No, I don't think I'm going to. I'm going to let her run with it." I doubt, one, that it would change anything. Because, you know, I personally think the mayor should have tried to get consensus. I really think that it should have gone through our history committee.
Okay.
And we had a complete discussion with our history committee. All of this went completely opposite of where it should have gone. This is not the normal flow. My friend, and I call Dudley Gregory my friend. He did one fantastic job with his little committee of people, I think predominantly from Emmanuel. Harry Griffin was part of that. And I think that when Harry changed his vote over the word apology, that's my understanding of why. He wanted to denounce it, but he didn't want to apologize because we're 6 generations removed. It really, I apologize, Quintin. Now, does that make you feel better? You know, well, if I had done something to you, I have now owned the fact that I, Marvin, have done something to Quintin. Okay? Well, there's nobody around, no 150-year-old folks. Okay? Now, they talk about Jim Crow. Okay? And those laws. We have laws, according to Mr. Waring, who was very eloquent in his discussion,
Right.
that still exist in Charleston. I truly believe he may well be right after listening to him. I have not studied it to the hilt, but hey, we got 3 more weeks to go before we have another council meeting. Now we have time to discuss it, not 9 days when the first cut of this came. This is actually the second version of this.
If you could go and rewrite this very quickly, because my battery's running low, but
Okay,
if you could introduce, if you could include something in this resolution, what would you add and
If
make
I
your
wanted
vote
to
different?
apologize for slavery, I would say something to the effect where it was a 300-year institution. So it was an institution called slavery. It went from about 1500 to about 1800, somewhere in that time period, all around the world. The new United States got sucked into it. If I wanted to apologize for slavery, I could do it in about 2 sentences.
And if you could say something right now to Postal Courier or reporter Abigail Darlington, what would you say?
Pretty simple. Put it in writing, I'll answer it in writing. That way, I truly believe that this was taken out of context, and I was unfairly represented here. I believe that Kevin Shealy was unfairly represented. I believe that Harry Griffin was unfairly represented here. And quite frankly, we'll do it by email.
Marvin Wagner, thank you so much for your time. I really, really appreciate this.
All right, thanks, Quintin, my man.
Thank you.
All right,
Anytime.